Imagine this for a moment. What if a single teaspoon of white powder you've probably ignored your entire life could unlock the door to better energy, faster fat loss, sharper focus, and protection against one of the most silent metabolic killers of our time? Sounds crazy, right? But here's the part that will blow your mind. It already exists, it's cheap, it's safe, and millions of people are using it every day without realizing what it's truly capable of. I'm talking about creatine, but not for muscle growth like you've been told in gym commercials. I'm talking about 5 grams of pure metabolic power that could literally stop insulin resistance in its tracks when taken the right way, with your meals. You heard me right? And before you scroll away thinking this is another fitness myth, stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll see why no one is talking about this and why you absolutely should be. If you care about your energy, your brain, and your long-term health, this might be the most important 5 minutes you ever spend online. So before we dive in, hit that like button if you're ready to challenge everything you thought you knew about creatine, and subscribe right now, because what you're about to learn could change how you eat forever. Now, let's start with a truth bomb. Insulin resistance isn't just a diabetic problem, it's a human problem. It's the slow, silent condition that steals your energy, your motivation, your focus, and yes, your body's ability to burn fat. It creeps in when your cells stop listening to insulin, the hormone that tells them to absorb glucose from your blood. Over time, your blood sugar climbs, your body pumps out more insulin, and eventually, you're left with a system that's overworked, exhausted, and inflamed. And what's crazy is that millions of people walking around right now are pre-insulin resistant without even knowing it. They think they're just tired, stressed, or gaining weight because of age. But what if I told you that something as small as 5 grams of creatine a day, taken with your food, could flip the metabolic switch back to sensitivity again? Here's where it gets fascinating. Most people know creatine as a supplement for athletes, lifters, or gym goers. It's marketed for building muscle, increasing strength, and boosting workout performance. But what very few people realize is that creatine plays a critical role in your cells' ability to use energy efficiently. It's not a steroid, it's not magic, it's a molecule that naturally exists in your body, especially in your brain and muscles. Creatine helps regenerate ATP, the energy currency every cell needs to function. When ATP levels drop, your cells get sluggish, your metabolism slows, and your body starts demanding more sugar to compensate. That's the beginning of energy crashes and sugar cravings that eventually lead to, you guessed it, insulin resistance. Now here's the twist that almost no one talks about. When you take creatine with your meals, it works synergistically with insulin itself. You see, when you eat, your blood sugar rises and insulin gets released to shuttle that glucose into cells. But creatine acts like a helper. It improves the cell's ability to accept nutrients by increasing cellular energy turnover. In simple words, your cells get better at listening to insulin's message. Imagine insulin knocking on the door saying, "Open up," and creatine gives the cell the power to actually open it faster. The result: lower blood sugar spikes, improved insulin sensitivity, and a smoother, more efficient energy cycle. You might be thinking, if this works so well, why isn't everyone doing it? And that's exactly the question that makes this video's title so real. The reason no one is talking about it is because the fitness industry boxed creatine into a narrow corner. It's just for muscle gain. But it's so much more than that. It's a metabolic optimizer, a brain enhancer, and potentially a longevity tool. Most people also don't realize that creatine naturally declines as we age. By the time you hit your 40s, your body's internal creatine stores could be 30–40% lower than when you were 20. That means your cells are already operating on reduced energy reserves, making insulin resistance even easier to develop. Think of your metabolism like a smartphone. When it's new, it charges fast and holds power all day. But over time, the battery weakens, and you find yourself plugging it in more often just to stay alive. Creatine is like replacing that worn-out battery. It gives your cells the charge they need to keep running efficiently. And when you take it with food, you're not just recharging muscles, you're upgrading your entire metabolic operating system. Now, here's something you might have noticed. People who take creatine often report feeling sharper, more alert, even happier. That's not placebo, it's biochemistry. The brain uses a ton of ATP, and when creatine boosts energy supply, your neurons fire faster and more consistently. That improved energy utilization is directly tied to better insulin function, since your brain actually controls a lot of your body's hormonal signals. When your brain is powered, your metabolism stays coordinated. And let's bust another myth. Creatine doesn't make you bloated or puffy. The temporary water retention people talk about happens inside your muscle cells where it actually belongs. It's not water under the skin. It's hydration within the tissue that needs it most. That intracellular hydration is one of the reasons creatine helps insulin work better. Hydrated cells respond more efficiently to metabolic signals. Dehydrated ones resist them. So when people say creatine makes them hold water, they're actually describing the very mechanism that helps fight insulin resistance. Still, people skip it. They think it's unnecessary if they're not lifting weights. But think about it. Every time you walk, think, breathe, digest, or focus, your cells are using ATP, that's energy. Creatine is involved in making that energy more sustainable. So it's not about gym performance, it's about life performance. And the dosage is so simple, 5 grams per day. That's it. No loading, no cycling, no fancy timing. Just 1 teaspoon mixed in water or your meal drink, taken with food, ideally breakfast or lunch when your insulin response is strongest. Now imagine starting your day knowing that a 10-cent scoop of creatine could make your cells burn fuel more efficiently, help control your appetite, stabilize your mood, and prevent one of the biggest metabolic disasters of modern life, all without side effects or complicated routines. That's the kind of simple, powerful habit that separates people who just survive from people who thrive. And here's your challenge before we move on. Don't just watch, take action. Go grab a plain creatine monohydrate powder, no fancy blends, no added sugar, and start tomorrow with your first 5 grams alongside your meal. Then come back here and tell me how your energy feels after 1 week, because once you experience the difference, you'll never skip it again. And if you're learning something new right now, make sure you've hit that like button and subscribed, because we're just getting started. And the next part will show you exactly what happens inside your body when creatine meets your food. When creatine enters your system with food, something fascinating begins to unfold at a cellular level. Your muscles, liver, and brain start absorbing glucose more efficiently, and suddenly, your body isn't fighting against itself anymore. Think of insulin like a delivery truck trying to drop off fuel to your cells. In an insulin-resistant body, those cells are like stubborn warehouses with jammed doors. They don't open, no matter how much the truck honks. But when you have enough creatine stored in your muscles and tissues, it's like someone lubricated those rusty hinges. The truck pulls up, insulin signals, and boom, the doors open, the fuel gets delivered, and your body's energy engines start humming smoothly again. This is why so many people who add creatine to their daily meals report stable energy levels, fewer cravings, and even weight loss over time. Not because creatine burns fat directly, but because it repairs the metabolic communication lines that were broken. You see, insulin resistance doesn't start overnight. It starts slowly, silently, after years of sugar spikes, sleep deprivation, and stress. Every time your blood sugar jumps and insulin rises, your cells get a little more numb to the signal. Eventually, your pancreas has to scream louder, pumping out more insulin just to get the same effect. That's why people start feeling tired after eating or crave something sweet even when they're full. Their cells are starving for energy, even though the bloodstream is flooded with it. Creatine steps into that chaos and gives your cells the backup power they need to start responding again. By improving mitochondrial energy production, creatine essentially teaches your cells how to listen. And here's where timing matters more than most people think. When you take creatine with food, especially a carb-containing meal, you trigger a small insulin release. That insulin helps drive creatine into the cells faster, so instead of floating around unused, it gets stored exactly where it can make the biggest difference, inside the muscle and brain tissue. It's a win-win. Your meal's nutrients are better absorbed, and your insulin works more efficiently because it's not overburdened. That's why taking creatine with meals, not randomly or on an empty stomach, can change everything. It aligns with your body's natural rhythm, supporting your metabolism rather than fighting it. Most people are walking around every day in an energy deficit without realizing it. They think it's normal to feel foggy after lunch or sluggish mid-afternoon. But the truth is, your body isn't broken, it's underfueled at the cellular level. Creatine helps restore that fuel system. When your cells have enough phosphocreatine, they can instantly recycle ADP into ATP, the purest form of cellular energy. This is what keeps you alert, focused, and productive. That's why people who take creatine often notice mental clarity and motivation before they even notice physical changes. The brain is one of the biggest energy consumers in your entire body, and when its ATP supply is stable, your mood and focus stabilize too. Now, let's talk about something most people overlook: how creatine affects blood sugar regulation beyond muscles. Your liver, for example, plays a huge role in maintaining balanced glucose levels. It stores glycogen, releases sugar when you need energy, and keeps your blood sugar from crashing between meals. But when the liver becomes insulin resistant, it starts dumping sugar into your bloodstream even when it shouldn't. That's one of the early warning signs of prediabetes. By supporting ATP recycling in liver cells, creatine improves their energy status, making them more responsive to insulin stop signal. In other words, your liver learns to behave again. Another fascinating point: your fat cells aren't just storage, they're metabolic organs that communicate with hormones. When they become insulin resistant, they start hoarding fat instead of releasing it. But once again, creatine's role in cellular energy balance improves their ability to respond to hormonal cues. This means your body can actually tap into stored fat more efficiently for energy, especially when you combine creatine with regular movement or light exercise. You don't need to hit the gym like a bodybuilder. Even walking or doing daily chores becomes more metabolically effective because your cells are finally working with you, not against you. Now let's address one of the biggest fears people have: kidney stress. You've probably heard that creatine is bad for your kidneys, but here's the truth. When used correctly in normal doses like 5 grams per day, creatine is one of the most studied and safest supplements on the planet. The confusion comes from misreading creatinine levels in lab reports. Creatinine is a breakdown product of creatine, so yes, it increases slightly in your blood, but that doesn't mean kidney damage. It's like mistaking exhaust fumes for a broken engine. The machine is just running efficiently. In fact, some studies even show creatine may have protective effects in people with metabolic disorders because it lowers oxidative stress and inflammation, two key drivers of insulin resistance. Here's another reason no one is talking about this: it's too simple. The world of health loves complexity. Special diets, expensive supplements, miracle detoxes. But the truth often hides in simplicity. A single scoop of a natural compound that's been around for decades could be more effective for metabolic health than half the pills on the market. But there's no massive profit in selling pure creatine monohydrate, so it doesn't get flashy ads or celebrity endorsements. Yet it continues to quietly transform people who actually use it consistently. And consistency is the key word here. Creatine doesn't work like caffeine. It's not an instant jolt. It's cumulative. It builds up in your cells over days and weeks, saturating them with available energy so that when your body needs it, it's there. That's why so many people quit too early. They expect a miracle after one dose. But if you give it 2 to 3 weeks of daily use, you'll feel it. Your mornings start sharper, your workouts smoother, your digestion calmer, your cravings weaker. It's subtle at first, then unmistakable. This is your reminder that health transformations don't come from one-time efforts. They come from consistent, intelligent actions. So if you've watched this far, you're already ahead of most people who scroll past the answers right in front of them. Be the one who applies it. You don't need to change your entire lifestyle overnight. Just start with 5 grams of creatine daily with your meals. Watch your energy shift, your focus sharpen, your body composition slowly recalibrate. Because when you give your cells what they need, your body naturally does what it's designed to do: heal, balance, and thrive. If you're finding this eye-opening, don't forget to tap the like button right now and share this video with someone who's been struggling with fatigue or weight gain. They need to hear this. And stay tuned, because in the next part, we're diving deeper into what happens when you combine creatine with proper hydration, light activity, sleep, the trio that supercharges insulin sensitivity even more.